Good morning. This is Matt from Education News. Today we're covering good news stories of the week. Special shout out to Miss Perkins' fourth grade class for making sure I upload these videos on time. Our first story of the week comes out of Cincinnati, Ohio, where a barber is opening up his shop on his days off and coming in to make sure he can give a haircut to kids with special needs. Vernon Jackson, the owner of Noble Barber and Beauty, is located in Cincinnati, and he recognized that a number of his clients were coming in, and the kind of situation and loudness and everything going on in his barbershop wasn't conducive to certain kids that had special needs, especially if they had auditory problems or if they didn't like to be in crowds. So since 2021, he's been coming in on his day off, and he's been opening up his barbershop for these kids that need a quieter place, need something that kind of like helps with their special needs to ensure that they're actually getting the proper haircut, they're getting all the help they need, and they're having a good, fun, enjoyable experiences while they're at his shop. If you're interested to know more, I'll link a video below where Vernon talks about what got him into the barber community, what he's been doing, in his own words. Next up is a story about an Uber driver who went above and beyond and actually donated his kidney to one of his passengers. William Semel is a 73-year-old man out of New Jersey who has to go to dialysis every week because his kidneys are not working like they should. Because of this, he actually uses Uber to go from his home to where he gets his dialysis treatment. Tim Letts, a 33-year-old Army veteran, was one of his Uber drivers, and during their drive from his home to the dialysis treatment center, it's about a 45-minute drive. And during this time, William was telling Tim about his treatment and what was going on, just kind of his life story, just kind of getting to know each other during a relatively kind of long drive. Tim was so moved by William's story and the very obvious need that William had that he actually offered to give William his kidney. Whenever Tim dropped William back off at his house from this Uber drive, he essentially told William, quote unquote, "If you'll take my name and number, I'd like to donate a kidney to you. This is a life-changing and life-saving decision." Just because Tim wanted to donate doesn't mean it would work. They have to make sure that Tim was a match. So there's a whole bunch of tests. They make sure they're the same blood type, along with a whole bunch of other things to ensure that if he donated his kidney, it would work for William and it would essentially be there for long term. Thankfully, and very unlikely, Tim was a match. So, because Tim's a relatively healthy young man, he's 33, he's able to donate this with relatively few complications. It's still a very, very big decision because you only have two kidneys, and donating one does have some risk. For Tim, he was able to donate. He said that because he was healthy, he felt like this was something he could do to really help someone out. It definitively is. For William, this 100% saves his life. There's a ton of people in need of kidney transplants as well as liver transplants and heart transplants. So this random act of kindness from a stranger really, really, really helped William's long-term life. Our last story of the day comes out of Missouri, where a young boy helped deliver hundreds of Easter baskets over the past weekend to individuals in need. Luke Flores, a 6-year-old young boy, has been volunteering with a organization called Alleluia Baskets out of O'Fallon, Missouri, since he was 3 years old. The organization Alleluia Baskets is a nonprofit that quote unquote builds community and provides joy by providing Easter baskets for those in the community that are living at or below the U.S. federal poverty level. Luke and his parents became involved in the organization in the early part of 2020 and essentially helped out every year since then. Luke essentially started by helping build Easter baskets, kind of organizing some material and things like that. And then over the years, each year, he successfully kind of progressed and did a little bit more responsibility each time. Last year, he was able to fill a couple of cards with donations by going to neighbors, asking for help, asking for things that maybe they could put in those things. So he went from filling and kind of working through some baskets, helping organize, to actually going out and getting donations. And then this year, he essentially organized a box truck by himself and then went around and got donations. His parents obviously drove him around, but he was a person going and talking to neighbors and strangers and people at the grocery store. And he ended up getting that entire box truck filled with donations. So, with those donations, along with some donations that came out of a pumpkin patch that was ran by one of his friends, they ended up getting 12,221 items. And with the help of 50 volunteers, they put those into hundreds of Easter baskets that they then donated to members of their community. It's awesome to see somebody so young already making a giant impact in his community. So you can really start whenever and really make a difference. As long as you're trying to do something good, you can definitely help out your neighbor. All right, that's it for the week. If you have any stories that you want us to share, please send them in, and I'll be happy to put those into our next week's good news story. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you have a wonderful week.